back to that cell like, I ain't even have a gun. They charged me with a gun.
After years of portraying the tough life, reality has finally hit Casanova. A recently surfaced video shows the rapper breaking down in prison.
Listen, I'm stressed up. I want to come home. I miss my family. I miss my kids. I miss just being able to do what I need to do, man.
Reflecting on the harsh reality of his 15-year sentence, the once confident and charismatic rapper is visibly shaken as he speaks about the weight of his past decisions and the isolation of prison life. Casanova breaks down in new video regret, isolation, and fan reactions. In a special edition of the show, $1 Million Worth of Game, Casanova brings first-hand insight into life behind bars.
Got my brother Cass on here. How you been, man?
Hey, man, you know me, same shit, different color, man. I can't call it. I'm all right. I'm better than most.
Claiming to be better than the most, he starts by explaining the differences between federal and state prison, offering a comparison that paints state prison as a high school-like environment, while federal prison resembles a more complex college system. He explains that constant transfers from state to state make adjustment nearly impossible, preventing inmates from establishing any sense of stability. Additionally, federal prison inmates have even less control over visitation rights due to frequent lockdowns, increasing the sense of isolation. The discussion then shifts to the grim reality of prison life, with Cass openly admitting that he struggles every day. He dismisses the idea of maintaining positivity, instead emphasizing the overwhelming stress of incarceration. He speaks about missing his family and the loss of personal freedom. He also describes the dangerous and unavoidable aspects of survival behind bars, particularly in federal prison, where mandatory gang affiliations dictate daily life. Cass explains that true independence is non-existent, as every inmate is forced into a gang for protection. Violence is a constant presence, with altercations, stabbings, and unfair punishments being routine. Cass then addresses the case that led to his incarceration, detailing his conviction for marijuana-related charges. He reveals that he never physically possessed the drugs, but took a plea deal, a common outcome for many facing the federal system. He criticizes the harsh sentencing he received, pointing out that his status as a rapper was weaponized against him in court. He highlights the disparity in the justice system, where Black men often face severe consequences for their alleged crimes, while high-profile celebrities accused of similar or worse offenses frequently escape with only civil penalties. Cass expresses deep frustration over feeling abandoned by a system he once tried to advocate within, particularly in his efforts to steer young people away from gang life. Casanova's emotional breakdown in prison has gone viral, sparking intense debate across Reddit, Twitter, and YouTube. Clips of the moment have been widely shared, fueling discussions about justice, redemption, and the consequences of past choices. While some see his breakdown as genuine remorse, others argue that he is simply facing the reality of his own decisions. Many fans have expressed sympathy, believing the system has broken him and stripped away his confidence. One commenter wrote, "All he's doing is speaking about how they broke him. That's all. He sounds like a broken Black man. Sad. The system basically took his manhood from him. Sounds like he submitted to the white man." This reflects a broader frustration with the justice system, particularly how it disproportionately affects Black men. Another user highlighted the survival struggles within the prison, stating, "Sounds to me like he is trying to survive and has no other choice. That's really a lot of history with Black Americans." To some, Casanova's situation is not just about personal choices, but a reflection of systemic issues. Others argue that despite his past actions, he deserves a second chance and could use this experience to change for the better. However, critics argue that his gang affiliations played a significant role in his downfall. One commenter noted, "I think it was more the gang he was with that got him cooked. The Gorilla Stone."
Now I kind of believe in manifestation more than ever, and I feel like I manifested this on myself because all my songs are drug-related or gang-related or are super violent, so...
Others believe he manifested his fate through his music, with one user stating his first album name was Commissary, and he was in jail clothes on the album cover SMH. Some remain skeptical about his willingness to change, especially given the risks of speaking out from behind bars. One comment read, "About to add 5 years to his sentence to do an interview." To these critics, his breakdown isn't just about regret, it's about finally facing the reality of the life he once embraced.
And I feel like you said, count your blessings, man. Like, if I could have changed anything, I just spend some time with my daughter. I feel like my son is autistic. I can't even talk to him. You know how I feel?
For Casanova, the hardest part is the personal sacrifices he has made. Plus, his son, who is autistic, has now been without his father for over 4 years, a situation that weighs heavily on him. His daughter, now 17, feels like a stranger to him. He missed out on watching her grow up and regrets not being there to guide her through life's milestones. Casanova reflects that in his pursuit of money, luxuries, and cars, he lost something far more precious: time. This realization has left him with a heavy heart, and he openly admits that the true cost of his lifestyle was far higher than he ever imagined. Yet, despite the overwhelming emotional toll of prison life, Casanova has found moments of clarity. He reflects on how, even though the system has tried to break him, he's still learning from the experience. His regret is compounded by the realization that no matter how much he has grown, the system continues to focus on the bad, often ignoring any good he's tried to do. This struggle with the justice system, which seems intent on making people disappear rather than rehabilitating them, remains a significant part of his emotional journey. While reflecting on the difficulties of prison life, Casanova has also spoken about the resilience of fellow inmate Tori Linez. He admires Tori's strength in facing his own challenges behind bars and the way he's managed to maintain his composure. Casanova has often cited Tori's ability to stay hopeful and positive, even when the world outside seems to have turned its back on him. Messages of encouragement and inspiration from friends, including Tori, help Casanova keep going, reminding him that resilience and hope can survive even in the darkest of places. Casanova has frequently expressed his fears about the psychological toll of prolonged isolation. In a place where human connection is scarce, the emotional burden of being cut off from family and the outside world can be crushing. He worries about disappearing into the system, losing himself completely in the years that pass without any real human interaction. For Cass, the lack of support for inmates is one of the harshest realities. While some prisoners manage to make it through with their spirits intact, many others face overwhelming emotional strain, and the system does little to help.
A lesson for me to understand that I can't play with these people, man. It's not state versus Caswell Sr. It's the United States of America versus Caswell Sr.
For Casanova, this emotional toll is one of the hardest aspects of prison life, as he continues to fight not only for his freedom, but for his mental well-being in an environment designed to break him down. The road to a 15-year sentence of Casanova, born Caswell Sr., was once a rising star in the rap game, known for his raw, energetic style and hit songs. However, behind the fame, his involvement in criminal activity eventually caught up with him. In 2020, he was arrested and charged with racketeering, narcotics trafficking, and involvement in a violent criminal enterprise due to his alleged ties to the untouchable Gorilla Stone Nation, a notorious street gang.
Brooklyn-born rapper Casanova pleads guilty to federal racketeering and drug charges. The U.S. Attorney's Office claims Casanova led the untouchable Gorilla Stone Nation Bloods gang and directed a multi-state conspiracy in that role. Casanova copped to a shooting and a robbery and to trafficking more than 100 kilos of pot. He faces.
In December 2020, Casanova pleaded guilty to charges related to his role in the gang's illegal activities, leading to a 15-year prison sentence. This sentence resulted from his extensive criminal history, which included multiple violent incidents. Authorities suggested that his association with the Gorilla Stone Nation was central to his life, with the rapper allegedly participating in gang-related activities like drug trafficking, extortion, and violent crimes. His public persona often blurred the lines between his rap career and criminal affiliations, further complicating his legal situation. One of the most significant incidents tied to Casanova occurred in 2020, when he was allegedly involved in a shooting at a Florida nightclub. Though he wasn't directly charged for the shooting, the FBI, already investigating the Gorilla Stone Nation, saw the event as evidence of the gang's ongoing criminal activities. This incident added to the narrative of his entanglement in a violent lifestyle and highlighted his willingness to engage in risky behavior, even under scrutiny from law enforcement. In 2018, another major incident, a violent robbery in New York City, added to the charges against him.
People think they can get away with stuff because they got a bunch of people with them, or they got a bunch of money, or they think they somebody. I think I'm somebody too.
Rucker claims that she was filming an Instagram live of her food. That's when the rapper and his group allegedly attacked her over the cell phone video.
The robbery involved several gang members, with Casanova reportedly playing a key role in planning and executing the crime, which resulted in significant property damage and linked Casanova further to the Gorilla Stone Nation, became another critical piece of evidence in the federal investigation that led to his conviction. Casanova's legal troubles were further compounded by the charges of racketeering and narcotics trafficking, gang, which were central to the federal investigation into the untouchable Gorilla Stone Nation. Racketeering charges, often associated with organized crime, were linked to Casanova's role within the gang. He allegedly helped facilitate the distribution of illegal drugs, a charge backed by wiretaps, surveillance footage, and testimony from informants. The government also accused him of participating in violent criminal enterprises, contributing to the gang's criminal activities. Despite efforts from his legal team to downplay his role, the evidence was overwhelming. Casanova's ties to the gang, his involvement in violent incidents, and his participation in narcotics trafficking were key to his conviction. Ultimately, the strength of the federal case secured his 15-year prison sentence. The bigger picture, background, and parallels. However, long before his name became linked to federal charges and a lengthy prison sentence, Casanova's journey into the streets began in the heart of Flatbush, Brooklyn. Despite coming from a well-off family, living in an 8-bedroom house, he was drawn to the streets at an early age. His mother found it hard to believe he was involved in crime, but his actions told a different story. He was first arrested as a young teenager, with his mother repeatedly bailing him out. His entry into crime started with petty thefts, stealing sneakers and robbing people for material gain. Peer pressure and the thrill of crime pushed him further, and by 11 years old, he was already committing robberies.
You know what I'm saying? So if my mom's giving me everything, but my other friend is robbing it, I'm just like, that's cool to do. So I might as well go rob with you, and my mom's gonna get it for me anyway, so I just got extra. You know what I'm saying?
By 12 or 13, Casanova had his first serious brush with the law. He was sent to juvenile detention, where survival meant dominance. Fighting became a necessity, and he quickly adapted to the brutal reality of jail. During this time, he joined the Bloods, forming gang affiliations that would follow him back to Brooklyn. Returning home with a newfound reputation, Casanova's crimes escalated. His robberies became more violent, and he often committed them openly, showing no fear. His approach was ruthless, sometimes robbing victims and then taking pictures with them afterward. This era of his life was marked by a dangerous hunger for dominance and respect on the streets. Casanova's most infamous crime was a robbery at a check-cashing business. He and his accomplices stormed the location, using intimidation and weapons to force compliance. They made off with $15,000, but greed took over. His co-defendant insisted on taking a safe. This delay led to complications. The store owner managed to escape and alert authorities. Meanwhile, Casanova's co-defendant was caught and beaten by locals, ultimately leading to their downfall. While Casanova initially escaped, it wasn't long before law enforcement caught up with him. After being arrested, Casanova faced harsh reality in court. His lawyer warned him that he was looking at 25 years, but he ultimately received an 8-year sentence.
He said, I'm gonna give you a shot. I'm gonna run it concurrent. I'm gonna give you 6.5 years. He said, you could take this and see your daughter, 7, 8, 6, whatever, however that goes. Or you could not and risk to seeing your daughter when she's getting married.
The weight of the situation hit him hard, especially knowing he would miss out on the early years of his unborn child's life. Prison was a brutal environment where only the strongest survived. Casanova became known for his violent encounters, reportedly cutting over a dozen inmates. He was cut himself, further cementing the reputation that made prison a battleground. At one point, he spent 32 months in solitary confinement, the box, where the isolation drove him into a near mental breakdown. He lost touch with family, received no visits, and developed an intense hatred toward everyone around him. Smuggling contraband and constant fights became part of his daily existence. Upon his release, Casanova was paranoid that federal authorities would pick him up again. He quickly realized that the world had moved on. His old friends had either transitioned into legitimate businesses or left the streets altogether. Struggling with money, he blew through what little he had within days. He refused to work a normal job, feeling that street life had conditioned him for something different. Within 2 months of his release, he was back in Rikers Island for a robbery he insisted he didn't commit. After being released again, Casanova faced a crossroads. He was disillusioned with the streets and decided to make a change. He reached out to his sister for help and found work with Local 79 for stability. Ironically, music wasn't even part of his plan. He had no prior interest in rapping, but often hung out with local rappers for social reasons. One night at a studio, he decided to try recording. He freestyled over Yo Gotti's Down in the DM instrumental, and the rawness of his lyrics, based on real experiences, resonated.
I said, hold on. You gonna give me $2,000, the dude that come to the club to spend $2,000-$3,000 and buy 3-4 bottles. I said, I'm rapping.
When a club offered him $2,000 just to make an appearance, he realized rap could be his escape from the streets. Despite having little knowledge of the music industry, Casanova learned fast. He crafted lyrics based on real-life events, robberies, fights, and street survival. His breakout track featured the chilling hook. At first, he was hesitant to show the song to Taxstone, a key industry figure, fearing criticism. But when he finally did, the reaction was positive. Instead of waiting as advised, Casanova uploaded a snippet on Instagram, racking up 30,000 views. The full track on SoundCloud took off, quickly gaining traction. As his song gained momentum, clubs began booking him for performances. The growing buzz caught the attention of Roc Nation's Warehouse Music Group, which offered him a 3-single deal, an astonishing achievement for someone with such a short rap career. Artists like Don Q, Dave East, Fabulous, Young M. A, Wyclef, Remy Ma, Jadakiss, and $AP Rocky contributed verses to a remix, further solidifying his industry presence. $AP Rocky even recalled a past encounter with Casanova from their jail days. Despite not having a major label's financial backing, Casanova's music spread organically, dominating radio airwaves in cities like LA, Tampa, Florida, and NYC. One of Casanova's most unexpected industry connections was with Chris Brown. Without being asked, Chris Brown posted about him on Instagram, a move Casanova deeply appreciated. They recorded 3 songs together, forming an unlikely bond despite their different backgrounds. His studio sessions expanded to include Jules Santana and Chris Brown's artist Low, leading to an East Coast versus West Coast themed song. The track's verses paid tribute to legendary figures. Casanova referenced Biggie, Diddy, and the Lox. Low referenced Tupac and Suge Knight. Chris Brown highlighted Virginia icons like Missy Elliott and Timbaland. Casanova wasn't afraid to call out artists he felt were fake. He openly criticized Soulja Boy, accusing him of pretending to be a gangster. He also weighed in on the highly publicized Soulja Boy verses. Chris Brown fight, siding with Brown and predicting Soulja wouldn't show up. Additionally, he had strong opinions on New York rappers who left the city to build their careers but later tried returning. He refused to collaborate with those he viewed as opportunists. Despite his success, industry veterans warned Casanova not to take it for granted. Many rappers before him had risen quickly, only to fall just as fast due to bad decisions. But as much as Casanova prided himself on authenticity, his own past eventually caught up with him. He wasn't the first rapper to face legal troubles, and he certainly won't be the last. His downfall mirrors that of other hip-hop figures who struggled to leave the streets behind, each with their own unique but equally tragic trajectory. Perhaps the most extreme case is YNW Melly, who is currently fighting the death penalty for allegedly murdering 2 of his close friends. Unlike Casanova, who took a plea deal, Melly continues to maintain his innocence. His case is purely a homicide trial, making the potential consequences far more severe. Similarly, Tay-K's rise to fame was overshadowed by his criminal activities. While on the run from law enforcement, his viral song The Race became an anthem, but it also sealed his fate. Unlike Casanova's case, which revolved around organized crime, Tay-K was directly involved in a murder. As a result, he received a 55-year prison sentence, far harsher than Casanova's 15 years. While Casanova's charges were tied to gang-related violence, Fetty Wap's case was different. He was never associated with violent crime, but was sentenced to 6 years for drug trafficking. Both cases involved large-scale criminal operations, but Casanova's connection to gang violence made his punishment significantly worse. One of the most controversial comparisons is with 6ix9ine, who was also charged in a federal racketeering case. Unlike Casanova, who remained loyal to his gang, 6ix9ine cooperated with authorities, testifying against the 9 Trey Gangsta Bloods to reduce his sentence. While Casanova now faces over a decade behind bars, 6ix9ine walked free much sooner, an outcome Casanova has openly criticized. Perhaps the closest parallel is Bobby Shmurda, another Brooklyn rapper tied to a gang and arrested on conspiracy charges. However, Bobby never faced federal charges like Casanova, which led to a significantly shorter sentence, nearly 7 years compared to Casanova's 15+. Additionally, his case didn't involve the same level of organized crime, making his legal battle less complex. This pattern of legal troubles among rappers isn't just about individual choices. It reflects the broader relationship between hip-hop and the streets. Many artists use their music to tell raw, unfiltered stories of survival, crime, and violence, but as history has shown, some struggle to separate their lyrics from reality. Hip-hop has long been a reflection of the realities of the streets, with many of its biggest stars emerging from environments marked by crime, poverty, and systemic oppression. The cycle of crime within hip-hop is not just about individual choices. It is a pattern reinforced by socioeconomic conditions, the justice system, and the music industry itself. Many rappers who escape the streets through music find themselves trapped in the very narratives they once rapped about, unable to fully detach from their past. Casanova's story is a prime example of this recurring cycle, showing both the rewards and the harsh consequences of authenticity in hip-hop. For decades, hip-hop has been criticized for its association with crime, with artists often facing public scrutiny for their lyrics about drug dealing, violence, and gang activity. However, the industry has also benefited immensely from artists with criminal backgrounds, as their raw and unfiltered storytelling creates a sense of authenticity that resonates with audiences. Record labels and media platforms frequently capitalize on the street credibility of rappers, promoting their music while often ignoring the real-life consequences of the lifestyles they depict. Casanova, like many rappers before him, leveraged his past to build a career. His music was filled with references to his time in prison, the dangers of street life, and the struggle for survival in violent environments. His breakout hit, Don't Run, embodied this energy, attracting fans who saw him as a real representation of the lifestyle so many hip-hop songs describe. However, the industry's support for artists with criminal pasts is conditional. When rappers like Casanova face legal trouble, they often find themselves abandoned by the same system that profited from their image. The corporate side of hip-hop has played a major role in reinforcing the cycle of crime. Labels encourage artists to embrace their street persona, and in many cases, this leads rappers to continue engaging in illegal activities even after achieving fame. The contradiction is striking. Rappers are rewarded for maintaining a dangerous image, but when the law catches up with them, the same industry that encouraged them to be authentic offers no protection.
But you got some that are still, they're easily finessed out of position by some dudes down the way that ain't getting no money. And they still want to keep it gang. What advice can you give them?
It ain't worth it, man. It ain't worth it. It ain't worth it, man.
If you enjoyed this video, click on the boxes playing on your screen to watch similar content.